you go. It's going to be a good conversation now, Spencer. Good morning to you.
Good morning
We have two great guests in studio here as we focus on Shelton. It's Thursday. It's this time. That's great. And it's also National Policewoman Day. And it was a day, we always talk about these days, what happens on these days and different events and subjects, and they come up, and sometimes we're able to tie in with great local folks around here. And so Ciara Paulsen and Shelton Police Chief Darrin Moody are here. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Good to see you in here. Thanks for coming in on such short notice. And National Policewoman Day. And so we were kind of trying to figure out where this came from and the history behind it. One of the websites that we go to often says perhaps the first policewoman hired was a lady named Marie Owens back in 1891 in Chicago.
Wow.
And let's see, Alice Wells hired by the LA Police Department in 1910. And they say it's always been observed on this day, September 12th. Maybe, though, as we're flushing this thing out, a good thing that we didn't necessarily know that it was a specific day as we look to, not have those two types of, policeman, policewoman, things like that.
They're police officers. That's the bottom line. They do the same job. In fact, I get lost on all the different days of the year. We have the days of this, the days of that. And when you contacted us yesterday, I said, I have to look this up. I didn't know what the history was.
I got to make sure Jeff's talking about legitimate thing here. Now, Ciara, Officer Paulsen, how long have you been with the Shelton Police now?
A little over 2 years.
You still like it? Pretty good boss, I suppose.
I can walk out if you ask that question.
Yeah.
What got you interested in pursuing law enforcement as a career?
Nothing specific, really. It was the only thing I was interested in. I didn't know what else I would do, so here I am.
Yeah.
She did it back east for a couple of years, too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So this wasn't your first stop?
No.
Have you noticed or had any pushback from anybody, like when you're out on patrol or you're out interacting with the public, or are we hopefully past those times?
I think it definitely depends on the crowd that you're speaking about. Some people treat you differently, or I guess come to you because you're female, and some people avoid you because you're female.
Oh, interesting.
So, I mean, it's just, there's definitely people out there who are still in that old mindset, but a lot of people aren't anymore, too.
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear.
I can tell you, just observing, most people will tend to cuss at the police officer if it's a man versus a woman.
Really?
It's fun to watch the dynamics out there of people. And like she said, you'll see people drift over to her because she's a woman. They think they may connect for some reason, or there are some people who strictly avoid. But it's no different than when the supervisor shows up on the scene. Somebody shows up. If I show up and I'm wearing stars, people automatically come over like I'm going to solve the problem when they're dealing with the problem.
Right.
So it's just different thought processes for different people.
Explain a little bit about how maybe either training has evolved, if it has, as more women are coming into the. I mean, you hear about physical standards and things like that. Has that stuff changed over the years?
Well, it's obviously changed a lot, but I don't know that it's changed more of the dynamics because of the people, the women in law enforcement. What has changed is how we treat people.
Sure.
I can remember looking back in the old history files of, the women wore skirts.
Right.
Yeah, this is just, you saw them, the meter maids or whatever they were called years ago. I'm thinking, how horrible would that have been to work in Chicago driving down as a meter maid wearing a skirt?
Yeah.
That's your, no thanks.
Wow.
I was thinking about that at the time of the first officer. A lot of female authors were writing as males, to get public. I mean, there was so much working against them way back then to be such a groundbreaker like that. I can't imagine what a day in the life for her would have been.
So we were doing some research on how pop culture has influenced and changed, and there was a show from the 70s.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember this, Policewoman with Angie Dickinson.
You remember that?
Yes, I do. We're dating ourselves on that one.
Yeah, it came out in 1974.
That's what I thought. There are sometimes in the office I'll say things and I'll look at the crowd of the 20-somethings in the office and they kind of give me that look.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What's interesting is there were very few females in those roles at the time in Hollywood, and this actually caused an avalanche of applications for employment from women all over the country to police departments, and they attributed in the early 70s to her portrayal as in that title role, Policewoman. And I didn't know this. President Ford in 76 rescheduled a press conference to not miss an episode of Policewoman that was his favorite TV show. So even the President of the United States was glued to the show. But,
doesn't that sound something?
But it is interesting how you kind of open up, the doors, and now you see it more and more, and it's becoming more and more common, thankfully. There's just a stereotype for some reason that women can't defend their communities or can't protect the people, their neighbors and stuff. I never understood where that mindset kind of came from, that the guy's supposed to do the defending and the woman's not, and there was just a lot of discrimination for a lot of years.
Well, I can tell you, I'll let her describe it, but old school, Shelton has some old school habits here, and one of them was our badge, and you can talk about that. So it made me laugh when it came to me because it wasn't obvious to me.
Sure.
Yeah, I had noticed it. I'm the only full-time female that works at the department. So our old badge, we haven't gotten the new ones in yet. His doesn't say it,
No.
right? Yeah, his doesn't say it because his says chief. But our old school badges look the same as his, but they say patrolman at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at it one day, and I was like, hey, that's super old school. Can we maybe change it to police officer or something? So I created a new badge.
So that's it. Police officer. It's not policeman, policewoman. It's officer for everybody.
And so, yeah, she went to work, and we'll debut it here when we get them in.
That'd be great.
We got new badges on the way, and it's more reflective of the city of Shelton. It's a backdrop of the community center or civic center.
Mm-hmm.
So it really was, and like I said, these are things that I wouldn't even have thought of.
Are you looking to eventually have kind of the numbers in the police force that represent the cross-section of the population, kind of 50-50 perhaps? And
Well, you always strive to be reflective of your community you serve. That's the goal. The hard part is getting everybody to apply for those positions that are qualified for those. But I can tell you, just in the last 4 years, we've diversified quite a bit at the police department. We have, Native Americans, we have Mexican Americans, we have African American, we have female officers, old, young. We've diversified pretty well.
is that a trend that you've seen? Are you guys, you think that you're at the forefront of this a little bit, or is this a nationwide?
Actually, there's a nationwide shortage of police officers and people applying for the job, and I
Across the board?
Across the
Male
board.
and female,
And, in working with a lot of the 20-somethings that we have down there now, and talking to my daughter who's in that same age bracket, my son, people don't apply for a job and stick with it for 30 years like they did when we were younger. We got into these positions and we said we will be doing this forever and this is our goal. People now will change careers 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And so, it's people out there are seeing all the issues going on across the country and looking at it and going, do I really want to go out there and be a police officer and put myself on the line for all the criticism that they're facing?
Yeah.
We're human beings. We make mistakes.
that's interesting you point that out. It just seems like tougher and tougher for law enforcement, because it used to be you'd be seen in the community as a friendly face, and now there's just so much animosity. I don't understand it. Like, just seeing a police car in a community would bring me a sense of protection, and now a lot of people just see it as an intrusion, and I think it's just all gone kind of backwards. I don't get it.
Ciara can talk to what it was like at the schools. That's kind of a refreshing part of going to the schools, and the kids, these guys are seen as heroes when they walk into the schools.
That's cool. Yeah. What's it like when you walk in to a school like that and the kids are there, you talk to them, or you see them on the streets and stuff like that?
Yeah, they definitely want to talk to you. They want stickers. They want, stuffed animals, stuff like that. But you can also tell the people who have parents who have dealings with the police, because you can tell that the children there are far and few between where they run from you, because that's what they've been taught.
Sure.
But
I guess that's true. We've talked about that before. Some of the first interactions young kids have perhaps with law enforcement, or after you've given the parents a ticket or something like that. And then the words that come out of their mouth, that kind of forms the perception.
You've got a youngster at home, and he's wearing a blazer similar to yours.
That's true.
So
I mean,
think there's
they do catch on.
They do.
Why are you wearing that badge, though? Did you get it at
my
the
new
pawn shop
sticker
last week?
That's my sticker badge. I was trying to get a sticker.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things of partnering with the school district. Alex Apostle and I being able to form the school resource officer program. It's not unusual for them to see the officers now.
Yeah.
And they're not going, oh my gosh, why is there a police officer on campus? They're going high-fiving them as they're walking down the hallway.
That's great. Well, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
National Policewoman Day, and eventually this will again be kind of just another day in law enforcement as police officers across the country are honored and recognized for all the good work they do. Ciara, good to see you.
You too. Thank
Darrin,
you.
good to see you.